The gate agent's voice was cold, flat, processed, like she'd been trained to apologize without meaning a word. "I'm sorry, sir, but there's been an equipment swap. You've been rebooked in economy." Daniel Rains blinked once. He wasn't confused. He was calculating. "I'm a confirmed first-class passenger. I paid for that seat. My schedule." She didn't even look up. "There's nothing I can do. You can take seat 28B or wait for the next flight." The crowd shifted around. Him like water dodging a rock. Nobody wanted to get involved. Nobody wanted to see a man like him. Shoulders square, suit pressed, face carved with lines of wars he never talked about. Standing there, humiliated. She hadn't even looked at his name, or the medal pinned discreetly beneath his lapel. Congressional Medal of Honor. Daniel didn't cause a scene. He didn't argue. He just stepped aside, nodded once, and walked toward the gate like a man heading into battle all over again. But someone was watching. 4 rows back, a teenage boy nudged his father and whispered, "Dad, that's him. That's Colonel Rains. He's the one from Fallujah." The father looked up, then down at his phone, pulled up a photo, matched the face. Suddenly, the hush around the gate wasn't just awkward. It was wrong. A woman nearby began, whispering. Then another. Within minutes, the story spread like wildfire down the boarding lane. That guy just got downgraded, and he's a Medal of Honor recipient, and 8 minutes later, everything changed. The double doors at the end of the jet bridge swung open. A man in a charcoal suit strode through, flanked by 2 assistants and a gate supervisor who looked like he was walking toward his own firing squad. Every eye snapped. To him, it was Michael Trent, president of Skylink Airlines. He didn't say a word. He walked straight up to Daniel and stopped. Then, he saluted. "Colonel Rains, sir, President Michael Trent. I'm here to apologize." Personally, Daniel didn't blink. He didn't return the salute. Just gave a look like, "You're 8 minutes late, son." Trent swallowed. "Your seat is being restored. The passengers in the front cabin have all been informed. I've also instructed our crew to upgrade the soldier seated beside you. Sergeant Kowalski, I believe. I read your file. You served together." Daniel's jaw flexed, just slightly. Still, he said nothing, until Trent lowered his voice and said, "I was a private in 91, sir. Camp Doha. I know what you gave up. This shouldn't have happened." Daniel finally nodded, just once, and said softly, "Fix your system, not just for me." As they reboarded the plane, the cabin stood. Every single passenger. Quiet. Not out of obligation, out of something deeper. A reverence. Daniel took his seat window side. Sergeant Kowalski sat beside him, eyes wide like a kid meeting a ghost. Then Daniel leaned back, closed his eyes, and for the first time in a decade, slept the entire flight, cruising at 36,000 feet. The cabin lights dimmed, trays clicked into place, and for a while, all was calm. Daniel Rains sat still, eyes closed, but not asleep anymore. He wasn't built for sleep at altitude. Not after. What happened on the last flight that changed his life? The one that went dark over Kandahar. Beside him, Sergeant Kowalski scrolled nervously through his phone, stealing glances like he still couldn't believe he was in first class. Or sitting next to him, he finally broke the silence. "Sir, why didn't you just tell them who you were?" Daniel didn't open his eyes. Just said, "If you need to tell people who you are, then you're not." 15 minutes later, the cabin door between first class and the galley clicked open. A man in a blazer walked in. Early 50s, salt and pepper hair, confident smirk. Business class passenger, apparently. But something about him didn't sit right with Daniel. Too polished. Too calm. The man didn't go to the restroom. Didn't talk to the flight attendants. He stood there, watching. Then slowly he reached into his coat pocket, and Daniel's hand moved to his own jacket, where the weight of instinct lived just beneath the surface. But the man didn't pull a weapon. He pulled out a passport and slid it into the seat back in front of Daniel, deliberate, almost theatrical, then walked away. Daniel sat up, opened the seat back pocket. Inside, not just a passport, A fake U.S. government badge, a photo, his photo, from 10 years ago, and a note, written in the exact handwriting of a man Daniel thought had died in Afghanistan. They told you I was dead. They lied. Meet me in the terminal when we land. Gate 47, don't tell the airline, don't call anyone, and don't wear the medal. D. Daniel's breath caught. D. Derek Marsh, his CO in 2006, the man who'd ordered a mission that went sideways. A mission Daniel had taken the blame for. A mission that cost 5 soldiers their lives. The last anyone heard, Derek died in a truck bombing near Kabul. But if this note was real, that meant Daniel wasn't just flying toward D.C., he was flying straight into a storm no one else even knew existed. Kowalski leaned over. "Sir, everything all right?" Daniel slid the note back into his jacket, masked his voice. "Yeah, just turbulence." But in his head, things were already unraveling. If Marsh was alive, why fake his death? Why resurface now? Why target him on this flight? And the bigger question, how the hell did the airline president know to show up at the gate exactly 8 minutes after the downgrade? Daniel's gut twisted. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a setup. Back in the galley, the man with the salt and pepper hair spoke softly into a phone. He took the bait. "Confirm rendezvous at gate 47. Tell Marsh it's working." A pause. Then, "And remind the colonel who really put that medal on his chest." The wheels touched down just after 10:42 p.m. Dulles International. Rain on the tarmac, the kind that makes the runway shimmer like steel. Daniel didn't move. Didn't speak. The note burned in his chest like an old wound flaring back to life. He waited until the plane emptied, until the last coffee cup clinked into the trash, the crew unbuckled, and Sergeant Kowalski was well out of earshot. Then, he stood, walked slow, deliberate. Toward Gate 47, Terminal C was nearly empty. Just a few late-night travelers, janitorial crews, and the soft, tinny buzz of security announcements playing to no one in particular. Gate 47 was quiet. Too quiet. Daniel scanned the chairs, the shadows. And then, from the far end of the glass, a figure stood, same height, same walk, older, thinner, but unmistakable. Derek Marsh alive. Daniel froze 5 feet away. "Why?" he asked. Voice low, calm, and cold. "You died in 2011. Marsh smiled. "Not the warm kind. I disappeared." There's a difference. They sat, 2 ghosts side by side, and Marsh told him everything. Operation Blue Rope wasn't what the world was told. It wasn't just a recon mission. It was a covert CIA black op, designed to destabilize a region, forge alliances with warlords, and keep American hands clean. Marsh had volunteered. Daniel had been ordered. When things went sideways, when innocent villagers died, the agency needed a scapegoat. A decorated soldier who could take the fall quietly. They chose Daniel. Fed him a false narrative. Stripped his rank. Made him earn back the life they stole. The medal, a muzzle, a shiny thing to keep him silent, proud, and compliant. Daniel stared. Ahead. "Why tell me now?" Marsh leaned in, eyes glinting with something between guilt and fear. "Because they're tying off loose ends. I'm next. You're after." Beat. That downgrade? That wasn't the airline. That was them. Testing you, watching your reaction. Daniel's stomach dropped. "Trent." Marsh nodded. "Ex-CIA asset. He doesn't run an airline. He runs a screen. You were never supposed to make it to D.C. A voice cut through the terminal. "Gentlemen, that's far enough." Daniel turned. Michael Trent stood behind them. No blazer this time, just black. Tactical. 2 men flanked him. Armed, casual. "Colonel Rains," Trent said, smiling without his eyes. "I believe we have unfinished business." Daniel stepped in front of Marsh. Trent raised a hand. "Relax, we're not here to kill you. We just need the files Marsh took when he went dark. Return them and you disappear. Again, like always." Daniel's voice was calm, controlled. Years of command buried under every word. "And if I say no?" Trent's smile widened. "You won't." Because this time you don't have a country backing you. Then a third voice echoed from behind. Maybe not a country, but a hell of a lot of people. Kowalski, with 2 Homeland Security agents and a local news crew behind them. Hope you don't mind, sir, he said to Daniel. I posted the note online. Tagged a few people. Within seconds, every camera was on. Trent didn't move. Didn't breathe. Until Marsh stood up holding a flash drive. You want it? Take it, but you'll be doing it in front of every veteran in the country. He tossed it, right to Daniel. Trent's hands twitched, but he didn't reach, didn't dare. Instead, he turned, walked away. The 2 men behind him followed. For now. 2 days later, the flash drive hit the news. Files exposing years of covert ops, political manipulation, and fabricated medals awarded to cover state-sanctioned crimes. Trent resigned. Congress opened hearings. Daniel Raines was called to testify. But he didn't show. Instead, he went home, to a cabin in the mountains. No phones, no cameras, but one. Morning, a kid from the neighborhood knocked on his door, held out a crumpled envelope. Inside, a note. Your silence cost them control. Your voice gave us back our names, thank you. A Marine. Daniel smiled. For real this time. And on his porch above the door hung the medal. Not to be hidden, but to remind. He didn't need first class. He didn't need applause. He needed the truth. And in the end, the seat they gave him didn't matter. Because when history sat down, it remembered his name.